Well. Good morning, one and all. Sam here. It's live. It's Monday morning. It's United People's TV. And we've already got the Jadon Sancho deal done. We're already in talks with Rafael Varane. Eduardo Camavinga throw his name in the bag. It is starting to get exciting for Manchester United in this transfer window. And I'm here to cover it all for you. Bring you all the latest news from Fabrizio Romano from France on our move for Camavinga, which I tell you what, that's accelerating quite quickly. What's the latest on Rafael Varane? I left it on Friday. What's happened in the last 48 hours? I'll bring you all that latest news. We're going to have to talk about Roberto Carlos, on Harry Maguire, on Marcus Rashford, and of course, Jadon Sancho on his excellent performance for England in the 4-0 win against Ukraine. There is so much to run through, and I'm going to run through all of it today. Before I do begin, make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure throughout the video you keep sending me your comments in, where you're watching it from, over on Facebook and on YouTube too. I'll give you as many shout outs as I possibly can throughout the live stream. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be a good one, so make sure you strap in. But let's see where you're all watching it from. As always, Scott Fitzgerald, you're watching from Bristol. Good morning to you, my friend. We've got Marco on Facebook watching from Malta. We've got Otto watching from Nigeria. Kevin from Mauritius. We've got Sujith watching from Kerala in India. Just like Manish over there too. So many people. What's this? We've got Aaron watching from London. And Alexandra watching from Egypt. Seriously, watching from Norwich, South Korea, Sanjo, Oakland, California, Norway, Uganda. Oh, man, honestly, this is so much fun doing these. But let's talk about the transfer news, because this is going to be an enjoyable show. And let's get straight into it. Sorry if that was a clap loud in the phone, because let's talk about Eduardo Camavinga. Now, Camavinga, if you don't know, 18-year-old midfielder from Rennes. The story sort of started to develop about, was it a week or maybe two ago, really, when Man United were getting linked with him. We've got Mohamed Bahafsi coming from RMC in France, who you know by now, who I consider to be very, very reliable as far as transfer news goes when it comes to Manchester United players. He said that Man United was certainly in for Camavinga. Now, there are reports that that fee was going to be around 100 million euros. But Bahafsi said, no, that's just a ploy. That's just a plan just to up the interest. Don't worry about that. That's not the price of him. And last night, the man himself, Fabrizio Romano, I'm on thepeoplesperson.com. You could have got this news earlier this morning. Oh, well, you could have got it last night, actually. But we cover it every single day. And there's so much going on that you have to really make sure you do. So go on thepeoplesperson.com for all the latest United transfer news. But this is what Fabrizio had to say. Let me zoom in so you can see it nice and big. Manchester United are progressing in direct contacts to sign Eduardo Camavinga. Rennes will be open to negotiate on a potential 30 million euro fee, as they'd lose Camavinga for free next summer. Man, yes, maybe it's the French players in the contracts. We've got Pogba at United, 1 year left. Varane around Madrid, 1 year left. Camavinga with Rennes and 1 year left. They've got to be better with deals. He's one of Man United's long-term targets. That's an interesting point there, because as I said, I thought this is something that's sort of developed quite recently, but apparently not. Man United's long-term targets, PSG have always been interested too. Do you think that we're going to sign Camavinga? Let me know in the comments, yes or no. But for 30 million euros, which is what Fabrizio Romano is saying there, that's a hell of a price for a player of that much talent. When he made his debut for France, he was the youngest debutant for France since 1914. He's already got 3 international caps for France at 18. Now, because France's squad is so littered with so many quality players, he didn't really have a chance this summer at the Euros. So he went and did the Under-21s Championships. And I think that was in March, roughly. But Camavinga, he's coming through. Let me see what you think about this. There's so many comments coming in. Honestly, man, I love the engagement on these streams. Nearly 1,500 of you watching now. So many comments from all around the world. We've got Prince watching from Morocco. We've got Omar watching from Nigeria. We've got Abdi Fatah watching from Somalia, all around the world. But do you think we're going to sign Camavinga, yes or no? We've got Pogba. You're saying yes. Rashi, you're saying yes. Mohammed, you're saying no. Yes, says Haroon. No, says Jay. Hell yeah, says Alaska. And I tell you what, for 30 million, you'd almost be mad not to, really. And I've said this before on plenty of live streams, and I'll say it again now, that Manchester United this summer, when it comes, for me, it's a reason why we signed Donny van de Beek. I don't think that Donny van de Beek was a long-term target for Manchester United. I think it was an opportunity that the club saw to sign a player for a reasonable amount of money, who was probably worth more than that. Now, CAMAVINGA is a bit different because he's an 18-year-old prospect. And I tell you what, man, I love signing younger players that have that talent, that are exciting, that you know could go on to progress to become an elite level player. And CAMAVINGA certainly falls into that category. Heading over to The Guardian. This is from Fabrizio Romano as well. Again, saying the same thing as he said in his tweet, basically. Rennes open to selling for 30 million euros. Otherwise, they'll lose him for free next summer when his contract is due to expire. Long-term target for United. Look at these stats. Being selected for the Olympics this month. So we'll all be watching the Olympics. We'll be watching France and seeing how CAMAVINGA plays, see what sort of player he is. He last August became, at 17 years, 19 months and 17 days, the youngest player into a France squad since 1932 and the youngest debutant since 1914. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really is. He's already played 67 top-level games in France at the age of 18. It's a fantastic record he's got. And if you head over to SofaScore to have a look at sort of where he played last season. Now, this is the interesting thing about CAMAVINGA. Look at that. Obviously, he's with Rennes comfortable with the ball in the opposition's half. So if you look at his heat map here, he's here, there, and everywhere. And I think that's the most important thing that we can take away from this. Make sure you head over to this to YouTube to watch this video that Tifo did on why everybody wants to sign CAMAVINGA. You don't need the sound on for this, but this is sort of explains probably why people are so excited and interested in him. Because you take a look at this from CAMAVINGA. Now, he's 18, and when you're 18, you don't really have a set position. You can play on the left central midfield, you can play defensive mid, and on the right. What they're saying is the only position in midfield he can't really play is a number 10 role. But if you're looking at how he runs through the gaps, runs through the press, he can play in a double pivot if you need to. He can play on the right-hand side. He can play on the left-hand side. He can play pretty much anywhere. And I think that's probably why he's such an exciting prospect, because CAMAVINGA at 18, I don't really genuinely feel the majority of footballers have a properly set position. At 18, if you go to the right team with the right coach, you can be turned into any sort of midfielder. That I would question at United, but at the same time, we've got Michael Carrick. Surely Michael Carrick, for CAMAVINGA to come in and learn the train under Carrick, that would be incredible. And I think that's, for me, looking at what Manchester United need this summer, we need that central defensive midfielder. Now, on paper, CAMAVINGA's not completely that pure Wilfred Ndidi or N'Golo Kante. He's a player who, at Rennes so far in his young career, has played in every single position and done them all very, very well. And that is why people are so excited about the idea of CAMAVINGA. And for 30 million euros, it would be an absolute steal for Manchester United to get that. Will he become a box-to-box midfielder? It could happen. Will he become a right central midfielder? It could happen. Will he become a defensive midfielder? It could also happen. CAMAVINGA has the ability to do everything at this young age. Big up. Super chat's being sent in here from Akshay saying Sancho, Varane and CAMAVINGA is a great window for Manchester United. Rashford, Bruno and Sancho with Greenwood and Cavani up top, with Cavani and McTominay behind. Could that work? Would that double pivot work? I mean, CAMAVINGA certainly has the ability to play in that, and he has the ability to play in all of them. And I think, as I said, that's where the excitement is coming from. And at the age of 18, to have 67 games in Ligue 1, to have already made your French debut, to be the youngest ever, the youngest debutant for France since 1914. You can see why the excitement is building. And because his contract has run down, you can get him for a lot cheaper. Big up to Akshay for the super chat. As always, ladies and gents, fire in your comments throughout the entire live stream. And if you want to ask me a question or you want to help, the channel will help me, fire in a super chat, because there's so many questions that always come in. I can't read through all of them. And there's so many I do miss. And I will also say, don't spam the comments. There's mods in here and they're watching. You'll get banned. You don't want to get banned from these. It's elite level content. You want to be involved, right? Let me head down to the comments and see where you're all watching this from. As always, we've got Kwame watching from Accra, Ghana. Big up Accra. We've got Diran watching from Australia. Good morning to you. We've got Simeon watching from Sierra. How are you doing? Deschamps compared him to Kante, apparently. Look, CAMAVINGA. He's clearly an exciting prospect. He's a player that I would definitely get excited about signing. And the fact that United, look, we're in direct contacts to sign him. United, look, I said this maybe a week or two ago, I said, look, I said John Murtough was brought into the club to smarten Manchester United up in the transfer market. It was a key reason why we needed a football director to come in and literally direct our transfers rather than having Ed Woodward and Matt Judge do it all. A couple of weeks ago, it looked like United were just going in and doing and repeating the same problems this summer that we've had last summer, that we were just negotiating over small change for a club of our size. The fact that we didn't want to pay 2, 3, 4 million, 5 million for extra for Jadon Sancho, and therefore we were nitpicking. But the deal's done for Jadon Sancho. Varane, we've been in talks in for some time. We're directly in contact with CAMAVINGA to sign him as well. Manchester United really are making the right moves now that are impressing me in the transfer market. And it looks like we're acting like the big club that we are. And we are doing things and we are trying to get it done nice and early because it's so important, man. Do not underestimate the importance of getting players in before the preseason starts. Because the last few years, we just have been disrupted. Edinson Cavani came in on deadline day, despite the fact that he was a free signing all summer long. We tried to sign Sancho all summer long. That didn't happen. There's certain things that just disrupt teams. And if Manchester United can go into this season, with Sancho before pre-season, he gets to join the club. He knows his surroundings. Obviously, he knows Manchester, but he knows everything at the club. Get CAMAVINGA in. If he joins, CAMAVINGA is going to be an 18-year-old moving country, moving everything, moving house, moving his whole life. That's a huge deal for him. So give him as much time as possible to settle in Manchester because it will help him. And Varane, same sort of thing. He might be 28, but he's going to be leaving Spain to come to England, bringing his family over. You need to give these players as much time as possible to give them the best chance to succeed immediately. And I think United are doing and making the right sorts of moves in that sense. Let me see where you're all watching from quickly. Got John watching from Aberdeenshire in Scotland. Good morning to you. We've got Abdullah watching from Malaysia. Good morning to both of you. Thank you very much for joining in. So many comments. Oh, there you go. Ishmael watching from Cape Town. Apparently, I make random songs and noises to fill gaps now. Who knew? I suppose that's what you got to do when you live stream. You've got to figure out new ways to fill gaps. But moving quickly on from CAMAVINGA to quickly run and recap everything. It's all in here. We're in direct contact to sign him. 30 million euros is the fee. That's an insanely cheap price for a player of not only his quality, but of his age. CAMAVINGA is only 18 years old. Therefore, he's got his whole career ahead of him. And Manchester United can sign that. At the moment, he's not a pure defensive midfielder. He's not that indeedy that we need, but there's no reason to say that he can't be coached into it. And someone like Michael Carrick, I would love to see what he could do with CAMAVINGA. Let's go down here to Anuj. Thank you very much for the super chat, my friend Anuj. Hi, Sam. Who would you have in your team? CAMAVINGA, Neves, or Brozovic? By the way, UEFA revealed the new ball for the Euro 2020 final. I'll go and have a look at that and see what Jadon Sancho is going to be banging in twice as England win Euro 2020. Out of those three, the player that I have not, the only player really that I've watched enough is Neves. I need to be watching more. I will be reading up more about CAMAVINGA. Really, I'm trying to speak to some French journalists, maybe some Rennes fans. So if there's anybody you think I should be speaking to, tweet me at @SamPeoples_. Anybody you think I should try and get in contact. I want to bring more interviews to the channel because they're always where you get the good insight. But thank you very much for your comment, Anuj. But out of those three, Neves is who I would choose because I know Neves. It's not to say that CAMAVINGA or Brozovic isn't better. Maybe CAMAVINGA is. Thank you very much for your super chat, my friend. As always, everybody firing your super chats. And there are 1,800 of you watching right now. So I am going to give you 5 seconds to hit that like button on YouTube, hit that like button on Facebook, because it genuinely helps. It's free for you to do, and it helps the channel grow. So why wouldn't you do it? Anyway, let's move on from Eduardo CAMAVINGA. I'm excited about that, and I really feel that we could get that done. And it strikes me as a very Manchester United type signing of old, where we snapped up the best youngsters in world football, and some of them that we turned into superstars. Rooney and Ronaldo are going to be your two prime examples of that. And maybe CAMAVINGA can be the next one. He's being likened to Pogba, he's being likened to Kante, and that's because journalists are lazy, and therefore, if a new young player comes through, there has to be someone that compares him to. No, he's the first Eduardo CAMAVINGA, and I'm excited by that. By looking at that video from Tifo there, where they're really kind of explaining that he can't play number 10, but yeah, he can play as that part of that midfield three as a right central midfielder, where he's played a lot for Rennes and he's progressing the ball through. He's not afraid of the press. He's good at receiving the ball and the press. He can take it wide. He can play in a double pivot. Maybe you come in and play alongside McTominay and he'll be better than Fred. But Fred, look at him. He's playing fantastic for Brazil at Copa America. I'm excited by CAMAVINGA. Let's see what happens there. But certainly we're in direct negotiations, and that in itself is very, very exciting. But moving on from that man to this man, Rafael Varane. Rio Ferdinand turned into Agent 30 this weekend. Good man that he is. He's just sent a little message, if you haven't seen. He sent a message to Rafael Varane on Instagram. He's being Agent 30. And with Rafael Varane, I said it last week, and I said it in quite no uncertain terms, I suppose. I'm concerned that we're getting used by Real Madrid, not by Real Madrid, sorry, but I'm concerned that we're getting used by Rafael Varane's agent simply as a ploy to get that new contract with Real Madrid. And I've seen nothing so far to tell me that can be ruled out. It can't be ruled out because it still might happen. And if you're looking at the stories coming out this morning, I've got here from Diario, is it AS? I think it's AS out in Spain. They're saying this: Rafael Varane expects a gesture from Carlo Ancelotti that will open the door to him staying at Madrid. Only possible if Madrid offer him an improved contract. Negotiations with Manchester United have taken place over a deal worth 45 million euros. And if you're heading over here back to ABC in Spain, always translate Spanish. Yes, go on then. Block. Yes, block that. They're saying, look, change in the centre. Neither Ramos nor Varane. And it could happen, man. I'm not ruling it out, but I'm remaining slightly pessimistic about Varane until I see something that tells me this isn't just going to be another Ramos story, because it always can be. And I'm pissed off at United getting used like that. But when you're a club of United's size, you have to expect it. It comes with the territory. It's just that I want a new centre-back. And I don't want this to be a summer where we just get used by Varane and nothing really happens. Big up to Gungshi here, sending in a super chat from Taiwan. Thank you very much. That's not the first one he sent. It's a big up to you from Taiwan, Gungshi. Do you think CAMAVINGA could develop into a central defensive midfielder, or should we still be looking at another specialist in that position? We absolutely should expect that a player of CAMAVINGA's quality and age, and the age is important here, because if you're signing someone like, I don't know, Neves is pretty established now. What is he, 24? If you sign somebody who's that old, you would expect they're very established in their own position. But you sign someone who's 18, who's only just broken into the French national team, who only has one real season of Ligue 1 football under his belt, who can, as we've seen here, Gungshi, who can play across all four positions in midfield, whether it's a double pivot, a central defensive midfielder, across a midfield three. He has the ability to play all of them. And therefore, you have to expect that he has the ability to grow into a world-class defensive midfielder. And if we can remember with Michael Carrick as well, just like most midfielders, when they get slightly older in their career, they drop a little bit deeper. We saw it with Paul Scholes, and Carrick did it as well. Carrick was a bit more mobile as a midfielder in his early years than he was towards the end. Towards the end, he kind of sat in front of the back four and did it amazingly. He screened that. Michael Carrick, what I always remember about Michael Carrick was he didn't really have to tackle because he would intercept it. He would see the pass. He would see the ball go into a player before it got to the player, and he would put himself in the right position to win the ball that way. That's if you're looking at a Tifo video here, which I would recommend, by the way, head over to Tifo and watch that about why CAMAVINGA is so good. They're saying that weakness of his game at this particular moment in time is interceptions. He makes more tackles, so it's a bit reverse of what I'm saying there. But surely CAMAVINGA can learn so much from Michael Carrick and Darren Fletcher, who are both at the club as well. In the same way that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has helped Rashford, Greenwood, Martial for a season, and maybe will help Sancho as well, become better attackers, better goal scorers. There's no reason to suggest that Michael Carrick and Darren Fletcher can't do the same thing with CAMAVINGA. I personally think we need to get a defensive coach in at Manchester United, because if you can talk about how good Carrick and Fletcher can be for midfielders and how good Solskjaer can be for attackers, we need that for defenders, because we don't have that at the moment. But I think if If we didn't think that he could develop into a proper defensive midfielder, I don't think we would sign him. And we got Ange here saying Carrick is a crap coach. How do you know Carrick's a crap coach, man? Have you been coached by Carrick? I don't think you have, because you're watching my video in the comments. Carrick has his coaching badges. Carrick was an elite level midfielder, an underrated midfielder, underrated by England, underrated by any fan who didn't watch him. But I think that he could. There's no reason why he's a crap coach. I think it's completely ridiculous to say. But with Raphael Varane, I'm going to remain eternally pessimistic about it until something really happens that shows it's different, that shows that it's not just completely another Sergio Ramos situation. And it might be the case, and I hope it's not, but it might happen. But thank you very much, Gunsheet, for the super chat. And I think it's an excellent comment. And I think if we didn't think he could if I didn't think he could turn into a proper defensive midfielder, I don't think we would go and sign him. That's my own opinion. You let me know what you think in the comments below. Dark Prince, there you are, my man. How you doing? Good morning to you on this happy Monday morning. Thank you very much for your super chat, my friend. Hey, I think signing anyone in midfield that isn't truly willing to do the dirty work or hard defensive yards without changing the formation to fit Pogba and Bruno could end up being disastrous. And Ndidi is the profile we need. You let me know what you think about that in the comments below. As I said, again, Dark Prince, I'm putting this down to age. If CAMAVINGA is willing, and he will be willing, he's 18. He's learning the game. Wherever he goes, he's going to be a sponge. He's going to learn from the players around him. And as I said, Carrick and Fletcher are two excellent midfielders in that sense to learn from. You're looking at the hard work, defensive yards, and the dirty work. Darren Fletcher. Aren't many at United in midfield that have done it better than him in that sense. But at the same time, you've got the guard and craft to learn from Carrick. It's a good blend. It's a good blend. But you're right. We need somebody to come in who is happy to do that defensive work. Because if we bring someone in who is not happy to do that defensive work, we are going to be left exposed. And it's why we have been left exposed. Would CAMAVINGA be enough? I don't know. But you get those players that come through every so often that just take to it straight away. And at 18, maybe CAMAVINGA is another one of those. You can't rule that out. But I do agree with you. I think you're right. We need someone who can do that dirty work. I think that's extremely, extremely important. Chris Turner here. Thank you very much, buddy, for sending the super chat. 150 million for Sancho, Varane, and CAMAVINGA would be good business. Also, would CAMAVINGA being left-footed allow extra balance to the midfield? I mean, Fred's already left-footed, and it depends on whether you play that double pivot or not. I don't want United to play the double pivot. I think United should be moving away from that. I think Manchester United should be playing a 4-3-3 with one holding midfielder and two central midfielders in front of them. I think that's how you get the best out of Pogba, and I think that's how you get the best out of Bruno. But 150 million for Varane, Sancho, and CAMAVINGA, given the fact that you can get 20, 30 million for Jesse Lingard. I think you probably get 10 million for Andreas Pereira. 5 million, maybe, please. Hope so. For Phil Jones. What's that like? That's like 40 million, 40, 50, about 40 million roughly. That is good for me. And having a United need to do this is the opportunity. We've had opportunities. We've not built them, but we had Jose Mourinho finishing second, then we didn't back him that next summer. This summer, we finished second, and we're backing Solskjaer properly. We've got Sancho. Can we get that midfielder for 150 million? I think that would be a good summer. I don't actually think it would be 150 for all three of them. Depends, I suppose, how much Raphael Varane would be. Mehul with an excellent comment here saying, I look like a budget Fletcher. Poundland Fletcher up in here. I've had that plenty. I've also had worse ones than Fletcher. But Fletcher, man, elite level. If you basically just call me an elite level footballer, maybe not elite, very decent level footballer, I'll take that. Thank you very much for the comment, my friend. Let me see where you're all watching this from, as always. Actually, I can't because there's too many comments coming in about live from Port Harcourt. No idea where that is, but you're in Port Harcourt. We've got Abijay Al Haji watching from Sierra Leone. I'll leave it for a second now. You let me know where you're watching from on YouTube and Facebook. And at the same time, if you haven't already, make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to United People's TV. It's free to do so. As you can see from the comments, it's a cracking community. It's great to have everybody from around the world who watch. And I love interacting and answering your questions. And always make sure you keep sending in your super chats. Like one from the Dark Prince here. Thank you very much, Dark Prince. One of the OGs, one of the mods. Look, Port Harcourt is in Nigeria. There you go. But where are you watching from? We've got Craig watching from Durban. How you doing? Shazad on YouTube watching from Southampton. Ryan Philip watching from Indonesia. Got a friend who's going back to Indonesia soon, actually. Got Jay Walsh watching from Ireland. Good morning to you. Emra watching from Slovenia. on YouTube. I honestly, I say it every single day. Look, Omari watching from Jamaica, David Con watching from Vietnam. It blows my mind all around the world. Everybody that joins in just to talk about Manchester United. We all love it, don't we? Thank you very much, John, from Aberdeenshire. I remember that. You're saying 30 mil for CAMAVINGA. Even if it isn't central defensive midfielder, he can run central midfield for years. We can grab a CDM next year if we get a great centre-back. Hopeful for this transfer window. I'm hopeful as well, man. And I've said it all along, and I will repeat it as well. Every single day, central defensive midfield is our priority this summer. I don't think United see it that way. And I think they're wrong to do so. But CAMAVINGA, if you can get him for 30 million, hell yeah, you snap that up, man. You improve the quality of the squad straight away. It doesn't strike me as that elite level defensive midfielder that we need to take ourselves up to the next level, but it's not to say that CAMAVINGA can't come in and massively impress and completely outdo expectations and show that he can play that role. That could happen. It could happen. And I'm going to stay optimistic about it because players can improve. Look at that. That was a great lead on. That was in. I'm clapping myself on the back from that one because Luke Shaw, man. We are talking about Shawberto Carlos. Answers Jose Mourinho's barbs with dazzling England display. How good has Luke Shaw been at Euro 2020? Just as good as he has been all season for Manchester United. It's just that other people haven't fucking watched him. Luke Shaw has got 3 assists at Euro 2020. And I think only David Beckham has ever got more in a single Euro 2020 campaign. 3 assists in his last 2 games. 2 wonderful crosses. 1 for Harry Maguire, 1 for Harry Kane. Harry Maguire scoring a header. I definitely had a fiver on that. Luke Shaw's incredible, man. Like the progress that he has made, the shit that he has had to deal with physically and mentally. Physically with the injury. I was there in that game against PSV. It was horrible. And it took him so long to recover mentally from Jose Mourinho, who is such a siege mentality manager that when it works, it works. When it doesn't, you just throw players under the bus. And no player really got thrown under the bus more than Luke Shaw. And he has come through it smiling, absolutely smiling. He's enjoying his best football. He's playing his best football. He's so much more exciting and confident going forward, because I think a criticism that you could have had of Shaw's game for a long time was the fact that he was always a bit tentative when he reached the final third, whether that would be passing backwards, whether that wouldn't be doing the overlapping run properly. Shaw had a weakness to his game in that sense, and I think it came down to confidence. But look at him now, man, firing in wicked crosses, wicked set pieces. He's on free kicks as well. It's just fantastic, and I'm loving the fact that he's given Mourinho the 2 fingers, and Mourinho just looks like a bitter twat, if I'm being honest. Mourinho's not really covering himself in glory here with how he's continuing to double down on Luke Shaw. But right now, he's the best left back in world football. He's the best left back in the Premier League. And to go from where he was to where he is now, it's absolutely superb. And there's stories coming out that he's going to be given a new contract. He absolutely deserves a new contract. Luke Shaw has worked his way into this position. And nobody really knew whether he could do it. And he's had to prove so many people wrong at so many different points in his career that you just have to praise him at this point. Got Mehul there saying Luke's definitely gone up a level on par with Robbie and Davies now. Obviously, Robertson was a standout for the year before, but are you talking about Ben Davies? Maybe a different Davies. But Luke Shaw, man, he's been fantastic. And I'll tell you who else has been fantastic, and nobody can deny this. And this is exciting for Manchester United because Harry Maguire has come back into this England team and he's looked absolutely sensational. The last 3 games, I'm not just talking about the goal against Ukraine. I'm talking about the commanding captain's performance. He's not captain for England, obviously that's Harry Kane, but the commanding performances we've seen from Harry Maguire. England are the only team to have reached a semi-final without conceding a goal ever in the Euros. And that back 4 includes Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire. We need a partner for, and maybe I'm wrong in when I keep saying about the central defensive midfield is the biggest priority this summer. I still think that's the case, but maybe the priority is a partner for Harry Maguire, someone like John Stones who really can bring the best out of Harry Maguire, because Lindelof doesn't. It's as simple as that. Whether or not you think Lindelof is a good enough defender to play for Manchester United, it's a simple truth that the partnership of Lindelof and Maguire doesn't complement each other. It's like putting salt on your dinner. You want salt and pepper. And I think that's kind of what that's kind of what it always will be. I think Lindelof is a good defender, but he's not a good enough defender to get the most out of Maguire. And when you got players like Maguire, you have to get the best out of them. And England are getting the best out of him. And it's exciting for United next year, going in and seeing Harry Maguire recovering from that injury and Southgate putting him straight back in. And he just looks very, very good. And does he play better for England than he does for United? He certainly seems more excited. And I'm not saying that as a slight against Maguire. I'm not using this I'm not trying to poke something out of it, but he loves playing for England. And that's what we can see about these players. And that's what I'm enjoying as well. And I think playing Rafael Varane alongside Harry Maguire would be the best partnership that United have had since Ferdinand and Vidic. I'm not saying they're going to become as good as Ferdinand and Vidic, but on paper, it's the blend that works the most. So if you're looking at Rio and Vidic, you had Rio, who was the Rolls Royce of defenders, comfortable with the ball at his feet, could sweep a 60-yard pass. Also very good intelligence, positioning, and all the key characteristics that a defender has to be. And then you had Nemanja Vidic, who had all of that, but would run through a brick wall to get the ball. A very different type of defender. And that's why they complemented each other well. Lindelof and Maguire, they just don't do that. Could Varane and Maguire do that? I absolutely do think he could. Let me head back down to the comments, though. Let me see what you're saying about Varane, about Maguire, and everything in between. You can let me know where you're watching this from. And as I will always continue to say, make sure you drop a like on the video on YouTube and over on Facebook. Over 600 on Facebook have liked it so far. I love this community, man. It is good and exciting. We have got Kareem watching from Alexandria, Egypt. Good morning to you, my friend. There are so many comments. Vincent, you're watching from Kenya. Good morning to you, my friend. How are you doing? And how is it in Kenya? Probably hot, I imagine. I think that's probably a fair estimation. We go down to the comments down here. We've got Zubi watching from Nigeria. There are so many of you watching from Nigeria, man. It's wicked. Oh, look at that. We've got somebody watching from Houston, Texas. Good morning to you, SB Stunner. Got Ahmed watching from Abuja in Nigeria. Mike York watching from South Africa. Good morning to all of you. And Ferguson, not that Ferguson, this Ferguson watching from Dubai. Oh, and Monique watching from India. Good morning to you. As always, keep firing in your super chats with your questions if you've got anything you want to say to me, because I will miss it, because there are so many things and so many comments that come through, hard to keep on top of. But what I always do at this point in the stream, if you didn't join in at the start, you might have missed it. I'm going to do a quick recap. And it's all about CAMAVINGA today. CAMAVINGA is the main story. It's exciting. Maybe United are going to be getting a new, exciting youngster who could become a world beater. And for me, they're my most exciting signings that Manchester United have ever made. But Fabrizio Romano here saying that United are progressing in direct talks to sign Eduardo CAMAVINGA. Rennes will be open to sending him 30 million euros. That is very, very cheap for someone who's so good. It's because they're going to lose him for free next summer in the same way that Varane's got 1 year left on his deal. And that's why United are in for him at that price, and why Pogba and the story of him leaving is a possibility, because he's only got 1 year left. He's one of United's long-term targets. For me, that's an interesting That's an interesting part, because it means that United haven't just go away. Stop doing that. Anyway, it means that United haven't just come in and tried to get CAMAVINGA. We've been looking at him for a while. That's exciting. Fabrizio Romano is leading the story on this one. We head over to The Guardian. He's saying the same thing. Look, 30 million. It's only 25 mil. My God. It's like less than we spent on Chris Smalling or something, isn't it? Jeez. That's really cheap for a player of his quality, but it goes down to the fact that he's only got 1 year left on his deal. United could well take advantage of that. That's the latest on him. And as I said, I kind of had a look at his stats, his positioning. If we're looking at his positioning for Rennes last season, you can see he plays all across the midfield. And that's exactly what he does. You head over to Tifo on YouTube. You can see this video on CAMAVINGA, very good video, which explains it. While he can't play as a 10 position, he can play on the right of a midfield 3. He can play back in a pivot as a double pivot. He can play on the right and progress the ball through the gaps. He's very good at tackling. He's very good with receiving the ball at his feet, even at speed. CAMAVINGA is very much a midfielder who, at 18, has the ability to play in every single midfield position. And that's why he's exciting, because if you bring him to a right club with the right coaches, you can get a lot out of him. And he's not just set. At 18, you don't get set into a position. You learn it at that point. Anuj here, big up for your super chat, my friend. Varane and Maguire will really work. But if we don't get him, I play Bailly ahead of Lindelof. The only problem is he's injury prone and a bit rash. We all know that with Eric Bailly, man. And with Eric Bailly, I personally was surprised that he got given a new contract. But United, let's be honest, over the years, we've done that with so many different players. And it looks like we've done it again with Eric Bailly. I don't think he should have got a new deal. And I don't think we can really rely on Eric Bailly in any way, shape or form in the long-term future. In the same way, I don't think we can rely on Anthony Martial as a number 9. I think that he's just too injured. He's just too injured. It's unfortunate, but I wish it wasn't the case, but it really is. And there's over 1,000 of you watching on YouTube now, I think. There's only like 400 likes. Come on. Be generous, people. It's Monday morning. I'm bringing you all the good news about CAMAVINGA. Drop a like on it. Anyway, let's head up back to the roundup. Agent 30, he's been going in after Varane. He sent him an Instagram message. Let's see what goes on there. But he could certainly tell him a thing or two about playing for Manchester United at the back. As I've said all along, I'm remaining pessimistic and I'm remaining reserved on Raphael Varane simply because I've seen it before with Ramos and I've seen it before with Gareth Bale and I've seen it before with other players as well. United simply do we just get used so they can sign a new contract and get a bumper pay rise? That could well happen. And look, Raphael Varane expects a gesture from Carlo Ancelotti. Let's see what happens there. I'm not getting too excited about Varane, but we certainly need a new centre-back. And if it's not going to be Varane, who's it going to be? Pau Torres? As I said before, I think Pau Torres for me strikes me more as a Lindelof part 2 than the centre-back that we really need. I think he's more of a cultured player. If you look at how Villarreal play, they play aggressively high up the pitch, a high line. He's good with the ball at his feet. We don't need that. Well, I mean, you always need that, but we need like a dominant defender. That's what we need alongside Harry Maguire. And I think Raphael Varane, for me, fits that mould a bit better. And if we head over here, I was having a little conversation because you can't not talk about Luke Shaw with how well he is playing at the moment. It's really fantastic to see how good he's been doing. And also we spoke about Harry Maguire. And it's the same sense. Both of them are playing fantastically for England. Both of them are playing just as well for England as they have been all season for Manchester United. And it's just good to see United's players doing well. And I'm excited about that. Now, let's head back down to the comments here one more time. Let me see where you're all watching us from and see if there is anything else you want to say to me, and I'll run through them. King of Everything watching from New Jersey. Good morning to you. Got Chukawama watching from Nigeria. Good morning as well. Bai's going to the Olympics, is he? Cool. Well, so's CAMAVINGA, and I'll definitely be watching CAMAVINGA at the Olympics. Got Ridwar saying this will be a really good summer. Fingers crossed, man. It could be a very, very good summer. That's going to be exciting. Monique saying 40 million for Trippier is a lot. Trippier, I don't care about that anymore. Park that. I'd rather get excited about a CAMAVINGA deal than I would about Trippier. But let's go down here one more time. We've got Maski watching from Cambodia. Yusuf watching from Bahrain. We've got Gokul watching from Oman. The first one I've seen from Oman. Good morning to you. Jimmy Sham watching from Birmingham with Jack watching from Borneo. Mississippi, bruv, says Worm No Big. Man, I've really got to write these down at some point, or someone can help me, because they really are all around the world, and it's so exciting to watch. But I enjoyed this show today. I'm sure you did as well. Make sure you drop a like on the video right now before I finish. And if you are new, thank you very much for joining in, but hit that subscribe button, because I'll be here tomorrow at 9:30, as I will be Monday to Friday throughout the summer, with these live shows, interacting with you, bringing you the latest transfer news. And if anything else breaks during the day, you know where to head to first, United People's TV, because I'll be here bringing you the news. So drop a like on the video. Very much. Thank you very much. Drop a like on the video, and thank you very much for joining in this morning. I loved it. You loved it. I always enjoy interacting with you. I always enjoy it. Thank you very much to Dark Prince, to Guship, to Anuj, and for anybody else, Chris York, anybody else who fired in a super chat. It really helps the channel. It really helps me, and I like answering your questions. So thank you very much for joining in this morning. Make sure you join me tomorrow morning at 9:30. And if I need to, I'll be back here, hopefully with some CAMAVINGA updates, because that's very exciting. Until tomorrow.